Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is your brother, Coach Zubair. I'm super excited to share with you our new series, Quranic Breakthroughs. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa sallam. Let me begin by introducing this series to you. The purpose of this series is to share with you mindset and strategies from amazing verses of Quran that will lead you to being close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, managing your pains and troubles, and achieving true happiness in this world and the hereafter. So the idea behind this is to consider the point of who do you love to spend time with? If you're sad or if you're happy, who do you go, who do you pick up the phone to talk to, or who do you like to meet up with? So that's when we want to help you understand that what if it is the situation that you are able to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in times of happiness and in times of hardship. So imagine you're able to connect with the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and contemplating and having a strong relationship with the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That can happen, but it will require some time and some effort from us. So what we want to do is use this series to empower you to be able to achieve that. The way we will do that is to share with you some of the Quranic mindset that you can extract as you contemplate on the verses of Quran, and some of the breakthrough ideas that you can start implementing in your own life. While doing that, what we are hoping to achieve is that you will be empowered to daily open the book of Allah and to read a page or two and to reflect and contemplate on how these verses apply in your life. So the approach that we are taking is not from a halal and haram perspective, but more so from a mindset. How should a Muslim's worldview be? How should you view your relationship between yourself and Allah? And how can you use Quran, the speech of Allah, to learn more about Allah, His names and His attributes, and the purpose of this creation and the purpose of our existence. So let's begin. So whenever you start an activity, you start driving a car, or you start riding a bicycle, or you start getting into some sort of sports or athletics, there's always this notion of how do you protect yourself first. So you always want to understand what you need to do in that specific situation to protect yourself first. So likewise, when we approach the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is an activity, right? So there's a notion around it, and that is protection, extra protection for your safeguard, for your own protection and on your own safeguarding. Now, the way this happens is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught us this. Likewise, if you think about it, our existence in this world has some challenges, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guided us on how to protect ourselves as we continue this journey in this world. So what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught us is to use the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has taught us, and this is to seek refuge in Allah from our most important enemy, the enemy that's most consistent and persistent and is working day in and day out to take us away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala towards the hellfire. And the words that we use for this are many. From these are A'udhu billahi minash shaytanir rajim. And that is, I seek refuge in Allah from the shaitan, the one who is cursed, the one who is repelled, the one who is thrown out. And that is something very important. So in this scenario, we're realizing who is our enemy. And it's a mindset, it's an awareness, it's an awakening that, look, any time of the day, whenever I'm trying to engage in any activity, he is trying to distract me and take me away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we want to make sure that we are protected from shaitan. So one of the best things that we can do in this scenario is to seek the refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So let's take a look at a few examples of where you can use this in your day-to-day activities, and then how it comes in different places in Quran. And then we'll re-emphasize this mindset, and we'll go on completing the episode for today. So let's go ahead. Bismillah. What you want to do is realize, number one, that when you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is listening to you, and that will have an impact on your protection from shaitan. So when you call out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it does not go in vain. So that's a very important point to realize, that when you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it has an impact. Second thing is to realize that the enemy, and being aware of the enemy and his persistence and his consistency. Now, when do you want to use it? Number one, obviously, when you are engaging in the remembrance of Allah, in studying the book of Allah, and so on and so forth, you definitely want to use it so that he does not distract you. So the shaitan is not distracting you and reminding you have to use cell phones, smartphones, check an email, check a message, and things like that, or whispering you and distracting you from contemplating on Quran. So that's very important to remember. Now, at the same time, everyone is different, right? So you may be put in a situation, you know your weaknesses, perhaps you have an anger management problem, perhaps in certain situation, in certain interaction, you start saying things that you regret later. That would be also a very good time to use these words of remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to seek protection in Allah from shaitan, and so on and so forth. And we have many other examples, such as when you are feeling lazy to do good deeds, you're feeling lazy and distracted to do things that are beneficial for you in this world and in the hereafter. So that's another opportunity for you to use this thing. When you feel anger, when you are feeling angry, when you are feeling upset, when you are feeling sad, when you are feeling anxious, all these times you want to use that. When you are feeling cowardice, and when you don't have the courage to say the right thing or to do the right thing, and you're feeling unsafe, and so on and so forth. So the idea is for us to think about which are the situations and instances in my life when I'm not seeking refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and how do I get into that habit of asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for protection all the time, especially at times when I am more prone to error and sins. Now, if you want to take a look at the places where we see this in Quran, so let's take a look at where we see it in Quran. So here's a website that's very interesting that can give you that information, and I'll share with you at the end of the video on how do you get access to this website and this content. But for now, let's take a look at it. So basically, we see that, you know, in using this word of a'udh, of isti'adha, this word in Quran has appeared around 17 times in different forms. Okay, now, so the way to take a look at it is that, look, here basically, this is the story of Musa alayhi salam, right? When his people tell him that, hey, are you making a joke with us when you are asking us to slaughter a cow for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And instead of him saying that, you know, how can I do that? I'm so, you know, I'm so away from that, or I would never do that, and all those type of things. Look, his mindset, he's at the same time, he's saying, I seek refuge in Allah that I do such things that are done by ignoring people. Okay, now in the next one here, is basically Yunus alayhi salam, I believe. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Nuh alayhi salam, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells him to be careful about what he's asking for in his dua, especially to save his son, who was his family member but wasn't from the believers. So when he's asking that and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rebukes him for that and corrects him for that, then Nuh alayhi salam says, oh my Lord, I seek refuge in you that I ask you about something that I have no knowledge about. Okay, so that's their mindset, right? These are some examples of how the Prophet and the righteous people would behave in seeking refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All right, so basically, that was our key message. Be aware, be vigilant, keep your guards up, and be aware of shaitan, your enemy, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for protection. Now, I want to share with you, this is our first episode, I want to share with you some of the resources that you can use as you go through your own study of Quran. So firstly, I wanted to show you this resource called Quran.com. It's a beautiful website. We have it right here. So here you can select the chapter that you want to read, the verse that you want to read. Let's just pick up something randomly. I want to show you how you can basically select translation here. So if you go on the top right, click on settings, then you can click on translation. And I would recommend you take the Clear Quran translation, as well as you go with the Muhsin Khan translation. So having two translations will give you a good coverage on the verses. Okay, so that would be my recommendation. If you're following along, you can use these two translations, and I think that would be a good thing. The second resource I want to share with you is basically this one that we were looking at. So corpus.quran.com is a beautiful website. It can give you word-by-word translation. You can also see the appearances of one word in different places in Quran. So the way you do it, you go by word, and then you can take a look at any word, right? So let's say if you take a look at the word alhamd, if you click on alhamd, it will give you the root letters and everything like that. And then what you can do is you can actually go and click on Quran Dictionary. Once you do that, it will show you all the places, you know, words from this root come in Quran, all the places. This is how I was showing you about A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. So if you click on here, then it will actually take you back to the verse. So that's a beautiful resource to be aware of as well. Finally, I want to share with you qtafsir.com. This is Tafsir Ibn Kathir. That's for someone who really wants to go deep into it and read all the hadith about a particular verse. You can use this resource. And then finally, I would highly recommend everyone to, this is a beautiful, beautiful work. It's a very short, summarized tafsir of Quran by Sheikh As-Sa'di rahimahullah, may Allah have mercy on him. And now it has been translated into English. I believe it's 3 volumes and it's by Darussalam. So I highly recommend everyone having a copy in their homes. So with this, again, so let's recap. Okay, let's always be aware of our enemy, keep our guards up, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for protection. When we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that asking, that dua, that seeking refuge itself is worship. So you're rewarded for that worship. You get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of that, and that has an impact. That has an impact. So that's the very important thing that we can all do. The basic thing that we can all do is to seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So until next time, keep practicing that, and don't forget to share, and don't forget to send us your comments. We look forward to hearing them so that we can make it more and more beneficial for all of you. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.